What is going on YouTube? My name is White Venom, and I'm guessing you're probably wondering where I've been for almost the last 2 years, close to be. As you know, the last video was, of course, on my warden analysis. I had back, I think, in August of 2020. I'm guessing some of you presumed I was dead because of a certain unknown disease. I'm quite alive, but I know that last year I wasn't able to put out any kind of videos because a lot of still the roaming COVID-19 pandemic was still going around my area, and I was really unable to do anything for conventions. I went to mainly, I think, 2 conventions in total last year that were very short because of all the COVID restrictions, and this year is going to be, I'm guessing, the exact same. But overall, I've been doing well. As you can tell, I'm in a new place here. This is my classroom here. Yes, my classroom. I'm an art teacher. For those who may not know, since I began doing this in 2019, this is my art class. So we're here today getting a better lighting and better sound system than I would be in my room, which has the worst lighting ever possible. So this we here have a lot more better acoustics as well as a better lighting for what's going to go on today. So to start things off, I want to do a really great video for you guys today. So today's video is all be based around my Mandalorian that I've of course, custom made myself for the past, I would say 4 years, since 2018 when I first began the character, and developing it ever since. Then we're basically going to go over all the armor pieces that I've had, custom made or I've done myself. That way it can adjust to the character, the theme, and of course his backstory. Alright, so now that information is out of the way, we're going to go more into the actual in-depth of the armor itself. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the bottom of the shoes, of course the boots, upward, all the body armor and all that, and then we'll lastly finish it off with the helmet itself. Before we get on, I wanted to get a closer look at my, my tote for my Mandalorian armor. I have this guy custom, tote from Walmart that I spray painted on the actual name of Brador in the language of Mando. So this is his name in Mando that I just spray painted as a stencil, and of course the Mandalorian mythosaur skull on top. So this is his suitcase. This is his tote to held all his armor. I think it's pretty cool that I add this little detail in there when I have it. I'm probably going to stand up for these, so of course you can see the obvious Boba Fett shirt. Got to rep the Fett. So we're going to start off first with the actual boots. Of course they have the bottoms. So these are actually my old Soul of Cinder boots from my Dark Souls 3, of course, Soul of Cinder costume. I just refurbished them to fit this character as they were first, of course, knee-length boots that I get covered with actually some gaiters. As a friend of mine asked me to add gaiters to them, like how Boba Fett is in the new show. Of course, that is now ended for Season 1. Hopefully, get a Season 2. Rambling on. And so this is a good idea to actually hide the actual look of the boots by these spacey, Star Wars-y style gaiters. And in fact, the gaiters themselves are the steampunk type of, spats or boot covers. And they work great for the ideas of, gaiters, basically. All I had to do was take off the Velcro-like buttons that are, sewed onto here, or hot glued onto here, and replace them with a strip of leather to almost hide and conceal the hot glue, button looks that were there. I still cut the Velcro up there. I can easily take them apart if I need to get on my leg. And the boots work just fine. So on the left boot here, what I have is a new and improved sheath for my knife. And this is styled over under the Destiny Hunter's knife. I made this out of EVA foam with a wire in the middle to help work with this kind of rigidity. So it works just fine. And I actually remodeled the sheath beforehand to make it more like a boot knife that is concealed on the outside. I took a lot of liberties from the Season 1 look of the Mandalorian for his look. A lot of the boot covers, his knives, his bullets and whatnot. So I like that look a lot, and I put this look into my own work as well. So that is the left boot. Again, on the inside as well, is looped around as a single holster. And so for the right boot, it's the same idea, where again the idea came from the Season 1 style, or Season 2 still, because he still wears them, of the Mandalorian, where he has these almost like bullets on the side of his boots to help, of course, reload his weapon, as well as another little pouch here that are refurbished into here as well. Same idea, same construction, where these parts can go, of course, Velcro, and can help conceal that with all the buttons here. They still work really well, and they look really good for the part, and I enjoy how they all turned out. Alright, so again, going over everything, well, of course, all the armor is going to be my Craftsman short sleeve. Keep in mind the short sleeve style, the coveralls, like mechanics wear. You have, your usual Michael Myers kind of jumpsuit or work suit coveralls. These are what I use. I went with this because there's a lot of great utility with this when it comes. You just slip it on, zip it up in the middle, and you're good to go. And you hold all these Velcro sections here where I have my knee guards, my thigh guards, and of course my overshirt, my all my armor is consistent of here. And it's a really great way to just, again, slip it in, slip it out without all the hassle of having a one-piece suit here, belt, and all that other kinds of things here. But the reason I went with a short sleeve is because a lot of times you can see in references photos where, for Boba Fett and of course the Mandalorian, where it almost like had the oversuit has this short sleeve effect to it, where, and of course he has an undershirt underneath it, so I want to replicate that look as well for my own look. Very good detail into that. So I did, of course, have all the Velcro for my thigh guards, as well as a little bit of retention of the Velcro for my knee guards when I do need them in case they, tend to slip down and whatnot. But again, this is a size medium. I got this off eBay, really good price, and again, it's in black, so I can, of course, with the black and silver theme. I did highlight some of these stitches around the sleeves in case they do show. There's a little bit of stitching here. I need to fix that. But overall, this is a good price and a good layout for what I need for my Mandalorian, and it works great. Alright, so kind of sitting down for this one. So this is going to be what is going under the coveralls here. And this is going to be my, of course, my Mark I style shirt, which is the almost the Cryptek black Typhoon combat shirt. Now, the reason I kept this in is because I liked the way it looked. It felt very, futuristic, spacey, because of all the nice Cryptek, camouflage it had. And again, like I said earlier, this went to my Mark I suit, where I went with more of a tactical, airsoft look when I first began this this outfit in 2018, where I had the elbow guards and knee guards, when I had my of course, these same Cryptek black Typhoon combat pants. I had to get rid of them because they were through eBay, and they were, of course, China made, and they weren't really good quality, and they were very, very, very tight on my lower section of my body, where I was almost unable to move, where it became so tight I was barely able to walk in the pants. So I unfortunately had to retire them and burn them because they did not fit me in my body anymore. But however, I still kept the shirt because it still fit great, and it's still a very soft material, and I enjoyed that as well. And of course, these patches here, the Velcro, are covered up from the sleeves of the outer coveralls, so they still work and they still fit great. And I like the way, of course, the camouflage looks, and the stitching is over here, make it more, again, space-like. Even though you really can't see the camouflage that well nowadays because I switched the gears up, but it still looks well, and I still kept it the way it looks. Alright, so for here, this is one of my favorite pieces of the entire kit, is my Kama, or Kama, however you're supposed to pronounce this. I first got the inspiration through, of course, a lot of this, the main selection for this is, of course, the post-Empire look, and I wanted to get more of a really, deep detail into this work. And my main inspiration for creating this comic was through the Dark Souls 2 Farama armor set, which was, of course, a lot of the theme throughout this costume. Apparently, it turned out. So I wasn't planning on it, but it turned out being that way, and I kept the way it turned out overall. But this was here for the main inspiration was the Kama, of course, the Kama, whichever you pronounce it, is what I have around my waist and, of course, back of my legs to my knees. And I went with more of that Revolutionary War style, where it, of course, I would say 18th century style, where it folds and kind of connects here, like how you would kind of see during the Revolutionary War, during 18th century styles of both French and British and American troops, where that nice fold, and it clips in here and buttons up right in the back here. I kind of like that idea. Very fancy, very formal look. I like that very regal look. And of course, the trimmings here, it was all hand sewn. I sewed this myself. It's a nice denim canvas look, and I, of course, sewed all the edgings right here, the bias tape and all that, and it turned out really good. And same for the inside as well. It came, the trimmings here ran short. I really didn't bother with that because you really can't see it anyways when you're, of course, wearing all the gear here. But of course, the front lays it all out, and when you get to the back of it where it really shines and all that detail is brought forth, and it looks great in pictures as well, and it turned out really good in my opinion. So going around my waistline or my belt line would be my girdle belt. And beforehand, when I got started with this, I created like this creative, sash, basically, like a pirate would or, a knight would around this waist, and it turned out not really looking the way I wanted it to. It looked very, saggy, the loose ends were showing. It wasn't looking very, attractive, basically. So I made this, like, of course, girdle belt, which is very iconic when it comes to Mandalorians we see on Boba Fett. But of course, I went more to the theme of, like, my character is very, solid, blacks and silvers and whatnot. So this is a great find actually at Joann's. They have a, I guess, 10-foot roll of this, and it came in really handy for getting all the sizing just right, and it turned out good. They do sell a lot of these on different colors and variations on Etsy from different sellers. You can choose one to get your own or make one yourself. I chose to make one that saves a little bit of money because I'm lazy and I'm poor, so a lot of this is backed up from this elastic, band stuff, and I glued them on here to make sure it doesn't, be, flipping, flopping, and looking sagging and whatnot. But in pictures, again, it turned out really well. It has a three-dimensional look when it comes up to my my actual weapons belt, so it turned out really nice. And again, this is Velcro to the back, so I can easily take it on and take it off when I need to. Alright, so now we're moving on to the knee guards. Now these knee guards are 3D printed from Clever 3D Studio on Etsy. Great buyers. A lot of my gear here and my armor did come from Clever 3D Studio. Go and check them out when at the end of this video. I'll have a link to their Etsy page in the description down below. Again, if you want kind of Mandalorian style things you can need, they have it 3D printed for you at a great price and also very shipping quickly as well. So these are, of course, the Death Watch style knee guards. Again, I went more of a post-Empire look with all these Death Watch things coming out because of the show and whatnot. So it helped out a lot to get these references just right. So for they came plain. First, of course, I had to sand them down, make sure they were filler primed, and of course weathered and whatnot. And the edging here comes from basically just 2mm foam, because a lot of my works had a lot of these silver edges. So I want to mimic that from my helmet onto my actual armor to keep that theme still going. But the tricky part is, of course, when it comes to the chrome paints, spray paint, it does get tricky at times when chrome spray paint tends to leave prints of both your fingerprints, or it'll scuff very easy if you ding it on like the side of a table, basically. But these are, of course, very fun to work with. I did hot glue, of course, some straps on the back to make sure it's secure to my knee, as well as some extra security of some Velcro to make sure they don't slide down or whatnot, so to keep in place. But overall, they turned out great. This is the left knee, and here is of course, the right knee. I went more of the theme of, I can see it around my armor later on, of that stippling effect with like silver. Not so much black, not so much silver, but just right. So right has a nice fading effect with all the edges around here. Make it look really nice and look very, three-dimensional, very unique to my own design. So above the knee guards we have, of course, our thigh guards. And these thigh guards are, again, 3D printed by MJPropsUK. Again, a great buyer. Because a lot of the Etsy shops they have here where like either you get one or you get the other. Or you get like this special sizing just right, but this one had both of the ones, and they came pretty quickly, and also very thin and very nicely toned detail of their 3D prints. And you don't see much of the 3D prints that much. I think it's really good that all I needed to do really was maybe sand it just a little bit and throw some primer up there, and it's good to go. Again, I love the post-Empire look where, especially from the first season of The Mandalorian, where we had these nice iconic edges here, and that I really wanted to look for into my armor, because I have, again, like I saw in the knee guards, had that distinctive silver edging, which I wanted to show in my work as well. The same stippling as well with a nice silver acrylic paint, but like I mentioned earlier, the idea of the chrome spray paint is a hassle to work with because it does scuff and get prints on it very easily, even if it's dry, basically. So I don't know if you can see that on camera. There's like a little bit of Velcro marks in here where it kind of stained it, basically, and I'm guessing some other fingerprints when I was touching it earlier. It gets scuffed easy, but again, if you get scuffed, you can hide it with like these black battle damage works, so which I have get all over my armor from the helmet down here. So it works either way. You can't really tell because it looks like it's been in places. So it works either way. Again, on the back, it is Velcroed, so it'll hook up to my coveralls when I do wear them. So you can easily take them off and take them off, take them on and take them off, basically. Alright, so now we're going on mainly to the main belt line where all my weapons kind of accessories are, basically. So what I have here on my belt is a refurbished, actually the belt itself is made out of EVA foam because I want to get that nice, I want to say three-dimensional work, and I was too lazy to actually get some faux leather and put on top some, I would say some 2mm foam, craft foam, and make it look like leather because I was lazy on that part and I wanted that I guess that rigidity of 5mm EVA foam, and it works either way. The buckle itself came from a duty belt that I had earlier that came with an actual belt strap that I had for my previous marks, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. I kept the belt buckle because I liked the way it looked, but the rest of the belt is made from EVA foam. On the front of it though, as you can tell, I added 2 more bullets, again going off from what the Mandalorian had from his belt line, from adding a little bit more bullets to his rifle. The siding here, of course, it interesting of more of the my pistol, obviously. So we have a nice pistol holster, leg drop here, and the pistol itself is a refurbished McCree pistol, or Cassidy, whichever way you want to call him now, from Overwatch. And this was a prop gun I've had for many years at Katsucon in 2018. I never ever used it for anything, and I thought this is of course a great way to actually utilize that futuristic Western style like we do see obviously in Star Wars and of course the Mandalorian TV show. And I custom made it to fit the theme almost for Mandalorian, almost for Star Warsy, the best I could, going off of references from other pistols and other weapons from the basically the lore of this whole series from George Lucas. So I tried my best. I kept most of the original design from Overwatch, from McCree's or Cassidy's pistol. The only additions I did add on was these Greeblies. Greeblies, I think you would call them. The word's correct. Using these old spare computer parts to act in as accessories to make it feel more Star Warsy, space-like. So these are super glued on from I think a computer keyboard, as well as a few other accessories right here. These plates here I think came from also a keyboard where you button mash them down. They look like metal pieces on top of the cylinder. Sorry. I had to actually cut down the trigger guard here because when I'm wearing my gloves, it was a very tight fit, so I had to loosen that up to make sure that I am able to grasp onto the actual trigger finger as well. Other accessories for this is I added a wooden dowel here on the bottom here, adding a little bit of foam here to make it feel like more, again, make it feel like it's a Star Warsy thing. Adding a more, it makes it look a lot cooler in my opinion. You can't really recognize it now. Adding some little holster here for the inside of the muzzle for the pistol. I took away the hammer on the side back here to make it feel like a smooth blaster, because blasters in the Star Wars universe don't really have hammers for the pistols and whatnot. The back spur, when it came on the pistol, I sanded it off with a Dremel, of course, to take it off. But I still kept that that little bevel right there because I liked the way it looked. And obviously we can see that I did add, of course, a scope to this, because a lot of times you do see in Star Wars that pistols and shotguns or rifles, they always have 2 or 1 scope on them there. So I went with a scope. We can see that obviously, and it turned out really good. And I love the way it turned out. It's a little off center sometimes if it sits in the holster for just a little bit long. So I kind of have to work with it just the best I can. And it's a little cockeyed just a little bit because it's, again, been in the holster for so long and it's been in there, but it works good. And I can still have a strap here in case I want to really just keep that together and not move at all, but I like to keep it out of the way. Away from that is another pouch just for looks. A buckle, no purpose, just for looks. On the back here is a Velcro strap, which will house, of course, my Galaxy's Edge handcuffs. And they still work. Of course, the lights work, and these are really great too. In case I want to take some photos of some bounties, basically, and of course the handcuffs are there for a reason in case I do want them. But they're in the back, so they're not really that noticeable. More bullets beside that. Of course, these bullets themselves, I forgot to mention that these bullets are actually made from EVA foam tubes, which are really great and come in handy for if you want to make like these very cylindrical bullets. And they're wrapped in a, I guess, sticky side 2mm EVA foam. Again, they're plasti dipped and chromed in silver spray paint. All over that is a piece of Sintra for the first time, not 3D printed. So this is one of the earlier pieces I had for my Mark III Mandalorian armor, what I had made out of Sintra. Again, my Mark III had a lot of these Sintra that I made out of for the first time actually using it. But again, like I said earlier, for my main uniform, I wasn't happy with it. More or less, I couldn't move into it. And a lot of this gear now, I can move a lot. I'll have a lot more better maneuverability into it, so that's not really well. But I still kept the side plate because I liked how it looked, keeping them again with the theme of that knightism, having like hip plates and whatnot. This little EVA foam pouch here, that's a little surprise for later on, so I'll go more into the detail of that. But I want to match the look of the seams here, matching with my belt and everything else. So from here, that is basically all of the main belt line for my Mandalorian, and I'll go more into what's next. Alright, now we're getting into the good stuff here with going over the main chest armor for my Mandalorian here today. Again, like I said earlier, I wanted to go with more of a post-Empire look, again, from Season 1 of Mandalorian. I like that solid, that one single solid breastplate. I saw really good examples from other cosplayers from Instagram. I was really growing on that look of that single breastplate here, and I was growing on it. I really like that, that just one single plate. It felt very more freeing than those individual plates like I have for the iconic Boba Fett look, which is still very nice. I'm not going to complain that about it at all, but I think I enjoy that single breastplate here. Again, the idea of that knights having a single breastplate, not many individual pieces here. It adds more freedom to it, more maneuverability, which I really like. And it's more streamlined. I think I really like that smooth look to it. Not so much, again, the individual plates are kind of a hassle to get right, and the measurements need to be just correcting, or else things get looking ugly. But the front plate here and the back plates of my armor are both by Clever 3D Studios. Again, you can check them out on your Etsy page if you get one if you want to. They do, of course, have a measuring tool to know how much of a width your chest is, so I went with my chest is. And from here, I sanded it down, make sure the bottom of it was nice and smooth, getting rid of the 3D print lines, as well as filler primer, and of course all the rest of the details from there. Same thing goes from here. But actually, from here, the back plate I snapped in half trying to sand it down. So it ended up breaking on me trying to sand it really hard to make sure the sanding lines were correct. But I glued it back together, and it's really unnoticeable with all that filler primer here. It looks like it never broke. The main part is, though, the flak vest. I had a hard time actually getting a flak vest that looked the part, and also I wanted that nice quilted look of a very nice, I guess, knight, aesthetic basically. So I went with that nice quilted pattern look for my flak vest, and I sewed it on myself with both. Of course, my mannequin obviously is a little bit too chunky for me, but this gives you a nice, good look what it should look like on a human body. So that's why it's, of course, taped here. But the siding here for both sides is Velcroed in case I can easily take it on and off. Unfortunately, though, I did have a little zipper on the back here, which is now unusable. It was a big whoopsie on my part because the back plate, I don't have to worry about taking off the back plate when I have both sides already Velcroed. So that was a little bit of a whoopsie on my part, but it is what it is. You really can't notice it. But other than that, though, again, this is very streamlined. It comes up to almost my belly button on my armor. It feels very nice. It's lightweight, even though it feels very solid. It's not gonna go anywhere. And these are all attached via Velcro. So again, if there are any problems, they'll come off really well. And here we're going to come on more of the details here, as well as the buckles and what they mean. All right, so going on now to the shoulders. Now, these shoulders here are the upgraded Beskar shoulders that, of course, was featured during Season 1 of The Mandalorian as well. I went with these more because of, again, the idea of that edging where it's very common about very much all my armor pieces, where I want to save that the nice chrome silver look. So the season 1, the Death Watch style, really didn't have that look I was going for. I had these like really nice Beskar style big shoulders, really sell the idea. And these shoulders again are 3D printed by PrintingCosplay on their Etsy webpage. Go check them out. Again, very nice detailed. Again, sanding them down was a little bit of a hassle. Make sure all the printing lines were gone for the most part, but it turned out really well from all the sanding, the priming, and painting. And I get to tell by the buckles here, both on the shoulders here, and how they attach. So of course you can tell I measure them, make sure that which one is which, and all I gotta do is simply buckle them in on both sides, and they are good to go. And I'd rather it do buckles rather than Velcros, because sometimes Velcro can be a little tricky to work with when it comes to shoulders. They can fall off. I've had that happen to me many times when it comes to armor, but Velcro, buckles here, I just hot glued them on. No worries, they stay on pretty well, and they're really locked in nice and tight. I really like that look. Alright, so going over the main chest armor will be this, I would say this strap here. Very common, I would say, in the Mandalorian, he has that front strap, as well as getting you the theme of that Dark Souls 2 Forearm Knight, where it does have that single belt strap going across the main chest plate here, the breastplate. So I kind of like that idea. I thought it looks really nice, and it adds a bit more, character to, of course, my Mandalorian as well. Not really technically ripping off these two characters, these two designs, but I like the way they look. They have a nice knight look, but also it feels, like a bounty hunter almost, which I really like. So for the main belt here, it is again a single piece of EVA 5mm EVA foam that is velcroed here next to one of my buckles where my shoulders are. So it comes in very nicely, and I had to make sure that was nice and streamlined. Buckle here, a little plastic buckle, does nothing, serves no purpose, but it looks like it would serve something. Below that though, over here is a punch knife or punch dagger, which is, again, this is made out of war blood that I had for my one of my earlier Mark IIs and Mark IIIs that I made. It does nothing. I can't really take it out because it is broken, but it looks like it can serve some kind of purpose. And being in the theme of it, like being Mandalorian, like knives and whatnot, it looks kind of cool. I like the way it looks. And there's a little ring down here at the very bottom here where I can attach it to my belt line where my pistol is. That keeps it nice and secure, not having to be very loose around. So I like the way it looked out. Again, this is that part of my Mandalorian. Finally, for the rest of the top of the armor here is, of course, the main fur mantle. Now, again, this is copying the look of the Dark Souls 2 Forearm Knight, but I've actually had this fur cape, this fur cloak for, of course, since my Mark I style, so I like the way it looked. And it previously did have a cape on the very back here, a very long Kylo Ren style cape with a nice, stitching and whatnot. But I eventually took that off because of the camo I was wearing, kind of interfered with that whole look. So I unfortunately had to ditch the cape off of that, but I still kept the fur mantle itself because I like that, that knightly look of it. Again, it kind of does look like the Forearm Knight from Dark Souls 2, but it makes it even more badass, I guess. I guess you would say that. So this is one of my favorite types of fur. I love this type of fur. I got it at Joann's a couple years ago when I first started in 2018. I like that kind of that wild, beast-like look, that wolf style, which I love how it just feels very stringy, feels very wild, and like I hunted this beast, and it looks really, really nice when, of course, the wind blows. It blows with it. It looks very natural, very fluid, which I really, really appreciate. And all it is really is Velcro, where these nice little Velcro patches were before, and all I got to do, take it on and off. It's that simple, not meant to be difficult at all. So that is that fur mantle there. All right, we're in the home stretch right here with the last few pieces of my armor before we finished off with the helmet. So here are my gloves here, getting the style of the Mandalorian aspect of it, where it has these, I would say the Plague Doctor gloves that were at Spirit Halloween. They're very plain. I like the way they looked, very basic. And of course the knit winter gloves that I put over that with, of course, the Sintra hand plates, and that they are velcroed on top of in case I need to take them off when putting on my gauntlets that are a little bit too big to fit through. So that's why I can easily take them off and take them on, getting on my gauntlets. And speaking of my gauntlets, of course, these are the new improved Beskar armor from the Mandalorian season 1 show. These are the first ones I had when it came up to my Mark III costume. That were the first 3D prints that I actually had. I didn't quite get out all the 3D prints in there, but it still works out either way. The trims here are, of course, 2mm EVA foam, and they are, of course, very much attached by some, I don't know if you can see from the camera, though, some elastic band that helps you keep it all together, not so much, free-flowing. Some types of, van braces and gauntlets do come with like a little hinge to keep it intact, but mine, you just slide them on, slide them off, and they do cover a nice good portion of my my wrist here up to here, a nice detail of the same color scheme as well. But they turned out really well. I like the way they look. Again, the last few things here, we have, of course, my elbow guards. Now, Mandalorians aren't really keen on using elbow guards, per se, because you don't really bother with them that much. But I wanted mine to have elbow guards for the main reason that, again, the idea of how knights operate, have a lot of these protection, and where things need to be. And I went with, again, these are Sintra that I made earlier, the style of how the knee guards look. That nice kind of swirling, swooping design like Boba Fett's is, and of course Death Watch as well. But when putting on the actual elbow guards, I wanted to keep the theme of, like, I guess, how knights were. That's nice winged deflection area here where it has protecting the joints, basically. And that's like I wanted to keep into my costume as well. And I kept that for, I think I made these for my Mark III. And then I want to keep them because I like that, that knightly aesthetic that I wanted to theme throughout my whole costume here. And they work out pretty well. Sometimes they can get in the way, but I really appreciate the way those wings look, those joint protectors basically, and how they look like part of like the knee guard look. And all I gotta do is just really slide them on, and again they're good to go. On top of my head, we do have, of course, this I would say costume style male coif basically that goes over my head as a pseudo balaclava. As I was trying to find a good way to hide some of the details around my straps and buckles and whatnot for my main armor, for the fur mantle, I like the idea of how this chainmail coif fits in the aesthetic of that knight, look basically for anything. So I wear this over here. I can either choose it to wear fully or, of course, hooded, so that way I can breathe a bit. My head can breathe a bit more. And it looks really nice. It feels like it would be actually chainmail underneath, but really it's not from far away distance. But it looks the part, which I really appreciate. As for the main rifle we have, of course, we're running with the one of these Nerf Interceptor guns, I believe it was called. I got this off of eBay a couple years ago to work with the theme of it. Now, I did a lot of adjustments first off because when I first had it, it was very tactical. It had like a bipod here, a very modern forward grip here in the fronts here, make it feel very tactical, and of course a very modern scope as well up here. When I had to look closely for the Mandalorian merc stat, a lot of these modern takes had to be taken out of it to feel more spacey. So I went back and took all those off and made it back to how it would feel like in the Mandalorian TV show or Star Wars universe. So I like the idea of Mando's canted side scope here, and this is all out of, I think, an old PVC pipe as well as EVA foam for the actual look of the scope. I also included these really cool canted sights, these canted iron sights. I'm not quite sure if you can see it here. I went with more this theme of Stormtrooper blaster in the front here, as well as a ring in the back. Feel like canted if I feel like I can look over to the side from both my scope and look over here for tight corners. Very tactical, but I like the way it looked. And the front here, the muzzle ear is wrapped in kind of this nice Halloween style, wrapping here, make it look, menacing, but also very hidden as a sniper would. Of course, the whole thing is all covered off. I had to take away all the Nerf logos, the warnings on the side, like how Mandalorian Works operates. Make sure those are all taken care of and hidden. The front though is covered with a PVC pipe suppressor. I do like the look though, but some cases with a lot of photos, I do tend to see that the suppressor tends to sag or droop a little bit from certain angles, which I probably will end up getting rid of, even though I love the idea of that silent night, look where it is suppressed rifle. But I might end up taking this off, but although making the barrel a bit longer and adding an extended suppressor on the end, make it feel more rigid and not so hanging off the side like it kind of sags or droops almost, which I really don't like almost. Other than that, it works the part. It's very lightweight, and of course, it being Nerf, I can paint it however I want it to be. It does not fire. I made it so it does not. Of course, this is of course fixed inside the magazine magwell, but it looks great. I think again, it looking the part of a sniper rifle for Star Wars turned out really good. All right, we've come to basically the end of our main Mandalorian loadout review for today. Now we're finishing things off with, of course, the main bucket here, the main helmets, which everyone seems to like. And this is my first piece that I actually created when I first created the costume back in 2018. This is the first piece that was done. A little bit about the helmet itself. This was from a kit on eBay that I got in 2018. I don't think they sell much of these anymore, but this originally was the Boba Fett style with the dent and helmet. Now I ran with a dent for my first two marks, my first two costumes, until at CatchyCon in 2020, before COVID hit, that I was told to take out the dent in the helmet unless you were cosplaying as Boba Fett himself. I liked the idea, and I thought that was very useful information, that I went back and found out the way to actually fill in your dent in the helmet with what a lot of they think, wood putty, and a lot of sanding, filling in that area and of course spray painting it back the way it works. And obviously I tried my best to fill in that gap, that little dent in the helmet, and I think it turned out really nice, and it feels seamless again on that helmet the way it should be. A little bit shiny areas, but again, you really cannot tell that there was no dent in that helmet before. So the helmet itself, again, the plume is very distinctive. I wanted it to feel very different than every other Mandalorian cosplay out there. And so the plume was purchased off of eBay. This is real horsehair. That Spartan Knight look was very prominent when I wanted it first off in my helmet. This part, either the section here that kind of lifts off of the helmet, is made off of EVA foam. On the inside, I'm not quite sure if you can catch it on camera though, but there is Mando writing which states Silent Night. Of course, the same code name that was given to my character throughout his time. So this is inscribed in Mando across that crest here where the plume sits of his code name. And on the front here is, of course, the emblem of the Mythosaur skull. This design really came from For Honor, when you get the Warden's that plume, that distinctive plume, when you earn a lot of these ranked lobbies. I earned it myself during combat during, of course, the For Honor days, if they're still alive. But I like the way it looked. I still kept it. It still catches eyes from people though who see my work. They really like that plume and that crest in the front. It's very distinctive of my character, which I really love. Other than that, though, the inside isn't really much to write home about. It is the same filling of foam on the inside to keep it nice and secure. Of course, the visor is tinted. It came with the kit, and the chrome and black really work well together, is my opinion. Again, 360 view on the stand, and other than that, comes out pretty well. So the last little thing before I end the video today is, you're probably wondering why I went over quickly that last little EVA pouch on my belt system around my pistol is, and that's because it is held up by a speaker. Now this is a great little speaker I got off of Amazon for a really good price. I think it was like $30 here. But the great thing about this, it comes with a headset. Now, a lot of times, many Mandalorians and cosplayers have that very distinctive, speaker headset where you want to vocalize your voice, feel like a radio almost, like in the show, like Boba Fett, and all those, of course, other 501st, stormtroopers and whatnot, basically. And this really helps with that, feel like the character is, a actual Mandalorian. It has that robust, robotic speaker sound coming out of it, and it sits nicely in my little pouch here. Of course, like I stated earlier, I made the pouch specifically for the speaker. Even though it does have a clip, I wanted it to feel very hidden when I do wear the actual costume. And all it does is slide in. I can get the cord, and it fits like a glove basically, and it's held up really nicely. You really can't tell that what is in there until you hear it. I'll give you a little demonstration on how the speaker works and how it operates. Very simple, very straightforward. The speaker can come up with different, I would say, radio frequencies. The guy's like radio, playing your own MP3 music stuff and whatnot if you choose to. It has a little clip in case you want to, speaking for classrooms, like, hey, I'm a teacher, in case you want to hear my voice a little bit better. But, this one mainly works with the headset for the mic for under helmets, which is, great for us Star Wars cosplayers. So right now I'm going to test, kind of a test run the mic setup so you know how it actually kind of operates and whatnot. So just a little test around here. Again, the volume section is up here, so if I turn it on, click it on, it'll, of course, operate, and how loud depends on how loud I get. I can do it very low, and of course getting louder, and this is the loudest it gets. Of course, you can, clearly hear it. If I get too close, I don't want to get some, feedback, so I can hear the way it is. I don't want to do that. That'd be very bad. But yeah, it works really nice. It has a nice loud speaker, which for those who can hear it will be very, of course, very beneficial. But for here, I can always adjust the volume. If it gets too loud, I can always dumb it down just a little bit. But at conventions, I can have it, all the way up or midway. That way, people can actually hear me, and like to say, in a big crowd. But I'll put on the helmet here to show you guys how it looks and sounds with the helmet on as well. Alright, so this is what the helmet looks like, sounds like with the whole mic on, or the helmet on. Yeah, it's kind of loud because the mic is so close to my face, but I can have it about midway. Right around midway works the best here, but again, it gets really loud, which I really like. This little speaker is very nice, it's compact, and it gives off a really good volume for what I need for, of course, Mandalorian Star Wars stuff. But so I think, I'll give you the description of what it is. It is the Mayona. I'm not quite sure if you can see that on the camera though. Mayona. It's very compact, very sleek, very slim. I didn't want one that's very bulky or very large, but this is nice for what it is, and I like it. So it's pretty good, and it goes good with the Mandalorian setup. Alright, well, that is everything part of my Mandalorian setup here, my kit. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and it's good to be back. I hope that, if you feel like, follow, of course, subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. It helps grow up the channel, as well as check out my other social media accounts. Of course, on my Facebook page, my Instagram account, where I post mainly a lot of my uniforms there. You can get a better look of the full suit as I wear it on my Instagram, definitely. And check that out. And so, other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for checking the video, and I will see you guys hopefully soon. See you later. Bye.